Daniel chapter 5. Belshazzar Malakah Avadla Lehem Rab Lerab Rabanohi Alaf. Belshazzar the king effectuated a great feast for his great ones, 1,000 great ones. Walokavel alapa Hamra Shate. And before the 1,000 he drank the wine. Belshazzar Amar Bit'em Hamra. And Belshazzar said, in the tasting of the wine, Lahayataya Lamahane Dahava Wakasapa, to bring for the vessels of the gold and the silver, the Hanepek Nebuchadnezzar Avohi, min Hekala di Birushalem, which Nebuchadnezzar his father brought from the temple which is in Jerusalem. Vayishton Bahon Malakah wa Rabanohi Shegalate Ulhenate, that they might drink from them, the king and his great ones, his concubines, and his queen, his queens or women, and his concubines. Bedain Hayetiu Mahane Dahaba, di Hanapiku Minahe Kala di Bethelaha di Birushalem. And in then the vessels of gold which were brought out from the temple which is in the house, from the temple which is the house of the God which is in Jerusalem, they were brought. And Wehishatiu Behon Malakah wa Rabarabanohi Shegalate Ulhenate. And they drank with them, the king and his great ones and his women and his concubines. Ishatiu Hamra, they drank the wine. Washabbahu lehlahe dahaba wakasapa nahasha parazala. Asha wahabana. And they praised to the gods of gold and silver and bronze and iron and wood and stone. Bahasha'atha, in that moment, Nefaka came in Ethba'an di Yadhanash, the fingers of the hand of a man. Wakatabana Lokabela Neverashata, and were writing before the lampstand, Alagira, upon the plaster, Di Katala Hekala, of the wall of the palace, di Malakah of the king, wa Malakah hazeh, and the king seeing, Pasiyada, the palm of her hand, di Kataba, which was writing, Adain Malakah ziwahi shanohi. Then the king, his brightness changed, wa ra'yonohi yabahaluneh, and his thoughts made him anxious, alarmed him, with qitare haraseh, and the joints of his loins, mishatarain, were loosened, were arkubateh, and his knees, dalada, this to that, naqashan, were knocking. Qareh malka bahayl, the king calling in strength, Allah, to bring in, la ashapaya kashadahe wagazaraya, for the enchanters and the kashdim, and the stargazers or soothsayers or determiners, Rane malka wahamar lahakime Babel, the king answering and saying to the wise ones of Babel, Di kol hanash di yiqareh katabadna wa pishareh yahawinani, that every man, any man, reading this writing and its interpretations showing me, Aragawana Yilabash, purple he shall be clothed, Wahamanika di Dahava alas Awahare, and a chain of gold upon his neck, Watalati Bamalakuta Yishlat, and the third in the kingdom he shall rule. Adain Alin Kol Hakime Malka. Then came in all the wise ones of the king, Walahaka Halin Katabal Mikre, and they were not being able the writing to read, to proclaim, Wapishareh Lahoda'a La Malaka, and its interpretation to make known to the king. Adain Malaka Bel Shastar Shagih Mitbahal. Then the king Bel Shastar was exceedingly alarmed, Wazi Wahi Shanaim Alohi, and his brightness was changed upon him, Warabanohi Mishatab Bashin, and his lords were confused, perplexed. Malakata Lokavel Mille Malaka, the queen, all because of the words of the king, Warabara Nohi Lebet Mishataya, and the lords to the house of the drinking, Allat, she came. Ghanat Malakata, to answer. She answered, the queen answered, Wahamarat Malaka, and she said, O king, La'alamin Hayi, for unseen time, live thou. Allah yivahaluk ra'yonak. Let not thy thoughts alarm thee. Wazi wak Allah yishitano. And thy brightness, let it not be changed. Itai gavar b'malakutak. There is a man in thy kingdom. Di ruh lahin qaddishin beh. Who the spirit of the holy gods is in him. Ubiyom me'avuk, and in the days of thy father. Nahiru wa shokolatanu wa hokma ka hokmata halahin hishita kahat beh. Light and wisdom and light and insight and wisdom, like the wisdom of gods, was found in him. Wa malaka Nabuchodonosor avuk, and the king Nabuchodonosor thy father, Rabaharat ummim ashpim kashadaim gazarin hakim avuk malaka. The chief of the magicians, enchanters, kashdim, stargazers, soothsayers, he made him. That is thy father, the king made him. Kol qobel di ruh yatira wa manada wa shokolatanu mafashar helamin wa akhawayat ahidan umshare itrin tishat kahat beh bedaniel. All because of that is an excellent spirit and understanding and insight, the interpreting of dreams and the showing forth of puzzles, riddles, and the loosing of difficulties, doubts, was found in him, in Daniel. Di Malka Sham Shemeh Belet Shahzar, which the king set his name Belet Shahzar. Ka'an. And now, Daniel Yitaqare Wapishara Yahweh. And now Daniel, let him be called, and the interpretation he shall show. Bedain Daniel hu al qadom malka. And then Daniel was brought before the king. Rane malka wa amar le Daniel. The king answering also said to Daniel, Anatahu Daniel di mi bnei galuta di Yehud. Art thou Daniel, who from the sons of the exile of the Yehudim of Judah is? Di hayati malakahavi mina Yehud, which the king, my father, brought from Yehud, from Yehudah. Shim'at alak, and I have heard about thee. Di ruh lahin bach, that the spirit of gods is in thee. Unahiru wa shokolatanu wa hokma yatira hishitakahat bach. And insight and wisdom exceeding, extreme wisdom was found in thee. Ukahan, and now, hu alu qadamai, They were brought before me, Hakimaya, Ashpaya, di Kataba dana Yikaron, Wupishareh Lahoda Otani. The wise men and the sorcerers, that this writing they might read, and its interpretation to make me known, to make me know. Walahaka halina pasharamilata lahawaya. And they were not able the interpretation of the thing to make known. Wahana shima'et alach. And I have heard about you, about thee. Di tikul pisharina lemifashar. That thou art able interpretations to interpret. Waqitarin lemishare. And difficult things or doubts to loosen. Karana hen tikul kataba lemiqare ومشره لهودا otani. Now, if thou art able the writing to read and its interpretation to make me know, Argawana thilabash, purple thou shalt be clothed. Wahamanika di dahava alathawaharak, and a chain of the gold shall be upon thy neck. Watalata b'malakuta tishlat, and the third in the kingdom thou shalt rule. Be'edain rane Daniel. Then Daniel answering, Wahamar qadam malakah, and also said before the king, Matanathak lach lehawayan. Thy gifts to thee let them be. Unavazbayatak, and thy reward la'achara nahab, to another give. Baramakataba, nevertheless, the writing, Eqareh Malaka, I shall read for the king. Wapishara ahod inneh, and its interpretation I shall make him know. Anata Malaka, thou, O king, Allaha illaha, Malakuta urbuta wiqara wa hadara yahab linabukadnethar abuk. God Most High, the Most High God, a kingdom and greatness and honor and majesty he gave to Nebuchadnezzar thy father. Wemina di yahableh, and from the greatness which he gave to him, Kol amamaya ummaya wilishanaya hawo zayain dahalin minaqadamohi. All peoples, nations, and tongues were trembling and fearing from before him. Di hawathabe hawaqatel. Whosoever he willed, he killed. With the hawathabe hawamahe. And whosoever he willed, he let live. With the hawa thave hawa marim, and whomsoever he willed, he exalted, lifted up, with the Hawa Thawe, Hawa Mashapil, and whomsoever he willed, he brought low. Ukadir Rima Libabeh, Ukadir Rima Libabeh, and when his heart became high, وروحه, and his spirit tiqafat lahazada, grew strong unto arrogancy, unto being arrogant or proud. Honahat minakarase malakute, his kingdom was brought down from the throne, or he was brought down from the throne of his kingdom. Wiqara, and glory, hadiyu, they removed minneh, from him. ومن بني هناشات أريد, and from the sons of men to be driven, he was driven. وَلِبَبَهْ إِمَهِوَتَا shawiyu, and his heart with the beasts was made like. وَإِمَا aradaya, and with the wild asses, Madoreh, was his dwelling place. Ishba kathorin ita'amun, herbage like the ox, he was eating it. Umit al shamayah gishmeh yittaba, and from the dew of the skies his body was drenched, was wet. Adadi yadadi shalit ahlaha illaha b'malakut hanasha, until when he knew that the God Most High is ruling in the kingdoms of men, in the kingdom of the man. Ulamanadi yithabe lahaqem Allah, and to whoever which he chooseth, he makes to stand over it. وَهَنَتَبَرَهْ, and thou his son, Be'el-Shathar, La Hashpelet, Libabach, and thou his son, Be'el-Shathar, thou hast not lowered thy heart, humbled thy heart. Kol qobeladi kol danaya da'ata, even though all these things thou knewest. Wa'alamare shamaya hitaromamata, and against the Lord of the skies thou hast been lifted up. Thou hast lifted thyself up. Ulamahanaya di bete hayatiu qadamach, and for his vessels of his house thou hast brought before thee. Wa anat wa rabarabanak shegalatak ulahenatak hamara shatain behorn, and thou and thy lords, thy women and thy concubines have drunk wine in them. Welehala he kasad pa wadahaba nahasha parzala asha وهبنا دي لا حزين ولا شامعين ولا يادعين شبحتا. And to the gods of silver and gold, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, which they do not see, and they do not hear, and they do not know, thou hast praised. وَلَهَلَهَا the nishmatak biyadeh وَكُلُّ أَوْرَهَاتَك لَهِ La hadarta. And to the God which thy breath is in his hand, and all thy ways are with him, thou hast not glorified. Bedain minaqada mohi shalih pasadi yada. And in then from before him was sent the palm of the hand. Ukatabadana Rashim. And this writing, it was inscribed. Udana Kataba di Rashim. And this is the writing which was inscribed. Mene, Teqel Ufarsin. Mene, Teqel Ufarsin. And Farsin. Dana Pashar Mildata. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene. Mana Allaha Malakutak wa Hashlmah. The God hath numbered thy kingdom and hath completed it, brought it to an end. Teqel. Teqil ta b'mohazan ya وهشت kahat hasir. Teqel. Thou hast been weighed. Thou hast been weighed in the scales, and thou hast been found lacking. Perisat malakutak. Wiyehi vatalamadai waparas. Peres. Thy kingdom is divided and given to the Madai and the Paras, to the Medes and Persians. Be'adain marabel shathar wahalabishu Daniel argawana. In then Belshazzar commanded, and they clothed for Daniel in purple. وَحَمَنِيكَادِي ذَهَبَا عَلَى الثَّوَهَرِهِ. And a chain of the gold was upon his neck. وَحَكَرِزُوا عَلَوْهِ. And they proclaimed about him, Di lehwe shalit, for him to rule, Talata b'malakuta, third in the kingdom. Beleleya, in it, in the night, Qatil Bel Shathar Malaka Kashtaha. The king, Bel Shathar the king, was killed. The king of the Kashtaha. Wadariyaush Madaya Qabbal Malakuta. And Dariush, the Mede, received the kingdom. Kavarathanin Shittin Wataraten. Kavarashanin, the son of years, Shittin Wataraten, 60 and 2 years. The son of 60 and 2 years.